Jesse, we kicked it since we was little kids. Throughout his life there's a bunch of stuff that he shouldn't have did. He was cool, but there's a lot of stuff he couldn't fix. But addicted to drugs is what I had thought he couldn't get, until he had started hanging around them other kids who showed him how to drink a Corona and puff a cig, and introduced him to weed with added supplements. So whenever he was feeling down, he'd take a couple hits. It ain't really bothered me cause it was nothing big, yo. It only bothered me when he started to fuck with Crystal. I'm sure he knew that doing it wasn't a smart move. He'd walk around with humongous pupils like cartoons. I tried to tell him his life goes to be ruined, but he just told me to chill out, he knows what he's doing. And now I'm thinking hard if I should get hostile, and said fuck it, and watch them take it right up his nostril.
Excuse me, do you need a ride? Looks like you're going downtown, yes. Hop in my ride. Well, hi, I'm crystal meth. Crystal meth. Hi, I'm crystal meth. Crystal meth. Come ride with me.
I once knew a nigga whose real name was William. His primary concern was making $1 million, being the illest hustler that the world ever seen. He used to fuck movie stars and sniff coke in his dreams. A corrupted young mind at the age of 13. Nigga never had a father and his mom was a fiend. She put the pipe down, but for every year she was sober, her son's heart simultaneously grew colder. He started hanging out, selling bags in the projects, checking the young chicks looking for hit and run prospects. He was fascinated by material objects, but he understood money never brought respect. He built a reputation cause he could hustle and steal, but got locked once and didn't hesitate to squeal. So criminals he chilled with didn't think he was real. You see, me and niggas like this have never been equal. I don't project my insecurities on other people. He feeded for props like addicts with pipes and needles, and so he felt he had to prove to everyone he was evil. A feeble-minded young man with infinite potential, the product of a ghetto-bred capitalistic mental. Coincidentally, dropped out of school to sell weed, dancing with the devil, smoked until his eyes would bleed. But he was sick of selling trees and gave in to his greed.
Jesse's sister walked inside of his room to get something out. Then she noticed Jesse on the bed, foaming from his mouth. Now she's tearing up, scared as fuck. Oh, he's done it now. So she picks up the phone, gives 911 a dial. She tried to give him CPR before the kid was lost. Then he had woke up and saw her on him, and it pissed him off. All of a sudden he went crazy just to fucking get her off. He threw her up against the wall so hard it made her picture fall. He can't really get a grip, she can't believe he did this shit. She kinda knew what made him flip, she yelled, "It's drugs, isn't it?" And now the paramedics at the door, so she runs down to open it, and they run up with all these antidotes. They try to tackle him, but he's too hard to handle though. They call for backup, so the station sent another van to go. When they arrived, he was spitting in their face and eyes, so they injected him until he had a stable mind. They told his sister that it's time for them to take a ride. You lucky that your brother made it, cause he almost died. She went up to say bye, but he must have dozed off. And I had barely pulled up when the truck drove off from our apartment buildings, so I didn't see crap. And I didn't get to see him till he got out of rehab. Even when he got out, he was still depressed, until he heard a little tiny voice in his head that said,
"Excuse me, do you need a ride? Looks like you're going downtown, yes. Hop in my ride. Well, hi, I'm crystal meth. Crystal meth. Hi, I'm crystal meth. Crystal meth. Come ride with me."
I'm falling and I can't turn back. I'm falling and I can't turn back.
Right before he pulled the trigger and ended the lights, he thought about the cocaine with the platinum and ice, and he felt strong standing along with his new brothers, cocked the gat to a head and pulled back the shirt cover. But what he saw made him start to cringe and stutter, cause he was staring into the eyes of his own mother. She looked back at him and cried cause he had forsaken her. She cried more painfully, and when they were raping her, his whole world stopped. He couldn't even contemplate. His corruption had successfully changed his fate, and he remembered how his mom used to come home late, working hard for nothing, cause now what was he worth? He turned away from the woman that had once given him birth, and crying out to the sky cause he was lonely and scared. But only the devil responded cause God wasn't there, and right then he knew what it was to be empty and cold, and so he jumped off the roof and died with no soul. They say death takes you to a better place, but I doubt it. After that they killed his mother and never spoke about it. And listen, cause the story that I'm telling is true, cause I was there with Billy Jacobs and I raped his mom too. And now the devil follows me everywhere that I go. In fact, I'm sure he's standing among one of you at my shows. In every street cipher listening to Little Thug's flow. You could be standing right next to you and you wouldn't know. The devil grows inside the hearts of the selfish and wicked. White, brown, yellow, and black color is not restricted. You have a self-destructive destiny when you're inflicted, and you'll be one of God's children that fell from the top. There's no diversity because we're burning in the melting pot. So when the devil wants to dance with you, you better say never, because a dance with the devil might last you forever.
Excuse me, do you need a ride? Looks like you're going downtown, yes. Hop in my ride, well hi, I'm crystal meth. Crystal meth. Hi, I'm crystal meth. Crystal meth. Come ride with me.